Good morning. Welcome to Lesson 2, Video 9. I'll start this the way I start them all off. They used to say in the olden days, programs, get your programs. You can't tell one clown from another without your programs. Well, folks, I'm not asking you to buy a program, but I am asking you to download the latest free version of the practice text. It's entitled, unimaginatively enough, the first collection of lesson texts. So here's what you're going to do. Below this video there are two links. If you don't see any links below this video, then you need to find your way to this video's exclusive page. That's easy to do. Just find the, oopsie, where is it? There it is. Find the little YouTube icon, give that a click or two, it'll take you right there. Now there's a lot of stuff written below this video, so you'll probably want to click the Show More button below the video. The second link will take you to the class materials page for the first quarter of lessons. And of course, that's a reference to the weekly webinars. There's some stuff on that page you got to buy from Amazon if you don't already have them, like yoga blankets and whatnot. But there's some free stuff too, including a free essay, a free image, and of course the link to the latest PDF. Download that bad boy right now. Now, the last precursor before the class. If this is your first time watching yours truly, set yourself up for success. Don't start with Lesson 2, Video 9. Start with Lesson 1, Video 1, or also known as Lesson 1, Part 1. Just go to my YouTube channel. You can get there by clicking one of these buttons over here. And look up the one that says Lesson 1, Part 1. Start that way. It'll make much more sense. After all, you're not here to stroke your ego. You're here to actually become the great spiritual superhero that you were born to be. Okay, everyone's got their stuff. Let's go. So, we're on page 15 of the first set of lesson texts. You know it's page 15, the numbering hasn't gone kerflooey, because the first line should read, "He is brilliant, white, and radiates the 6 lights." Okay, so today we are working on the second quatrain, quatrain being an Alex Trebek word for 4 lines. So the first line of the second quatrain reads, "He has 4 hands." Well, what's that referring to? Well, let's go backwards in your practice text to the previous page, and you'll see what we call a line drawing of the Buddha of Compassion, known as Avalokiteshvara in Sanskrit, Chenrezig in Tibetan, in some provinces of China, Quan Shin Pusa, also known as Kuan Yin, and in some places in Japan known as Kwanzin Bosatsu, or simply Kwanon. So, here we have 4-armed Chenrezig. Now, do I expect you to actually believe there's a 4-armed guy running around looking exactly like that? Well, if you've been watching my videos, you know I don't believe in belief. This is simply a mnemonic device. Every element in the iconography of the drawing reminds us of a bit of doctrine, because in the history of human affairs, literacy is still something new. So why does the Buddha of Compassion have 4 arms? To remind us of the 4 elements of love. And we'll explore that in greater depth in lesson 3. But here we go, superficially. There's something in Mahayana Buddhism, the form of Buddhism that's most popular in East Asia, and of course blended with the Tantra in North Asia. They talk about the 4 immeasurables. What are the 4 immeasurables? Compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. We're going to race through these now. For greater detail, see the third set of videos. We're in the second set of videos right now. So in a nutshell, we could say that compassion and love are two sides of the same coin. Compassion and love are the art of learning how to give a flying fuck about the welfare of others. We're all naturally self-centered. That's one of the reasons we've survived as a species. We're not the fastest, we're not the strongest, we don't have the sharpest claws or the longest fangs. But we are clever and selfish. We can thank your reptilian mind, your brainstem for that. So, how does compassion work? You start with self-centered aversion. What do you hate present in your life? Or what eventuality, what circumstance would you hate if it manifested in your life? Well, if you're smart and those crappy things in your life, you'll work hard to get rid of them. And if they haven't manifested in your life, you'll work hard to prevent them from manifesting in your life. What's that got to do with compassion? Glad you asked. All compassion is self-centered aversion on a universal scale. It's kind of like taking an umbrella and opening it up. So instead of just concerning yourself with what I hate, you concern yourself with what does everybody hate? And how can we get this hateful crap out of everyone's life? How can we prevent this hateful crap from manifesting in everyone's life? So here's the funny thing. When the umbrella of aversion is closed, it's selfish. When the umbrella of aversion is opened, it's universal compassion. Yes, that's a controversial explanation. I'm a controversial Lama. Folks, the proof of the pudding is not in the popular opinion. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. The only test of the teachings I present to you are what are the results you receive from them when you apply them consistently twice a day, every day for 6 consecutive days. That's it. That's the only test. So we've discussed what compassion is. What's love? Well, self-centered, small-scale greed, avarice, I want. I've seen a wonderful LOL image of a kitty cat, and there's 2 pictures. One is a kitty cat staring at fish drying on a line, and the other, and the caption reads, wants, wants, wants. The second photograph has the cat has jumped up and is now hanging from the drying fish, and the caption reads, has. So, that's a wonderful example of greed or avarice. What do we want? We want health. We want wealth. We want companionship. We want joy. We want peace. We want love. We want good fortune. We want wonderful things. We want those things just for ourselves. That's self-centered greed. When we open the umbrella of our greed and want those things for everything, every being, and every world of every galaxy, then that's love. Isn't that cool? And here's the neat thing. Converting hate to compassion or greed to love does not force us, does not require us to manipulate our emotions. All we've got to do is access our will, our intention, our volition, which is pretty cool. And of course, we'll go into greater depths how to access the universal compassion in Lesson 3, and greater depths in how to access universal love in Lesson 5. And even though, and what you'll find is with each lesson, everything you learn gets easier and easier and easier, which is pretty cool. What's the third limitless, what's the phrase again? The 4 limitlessness. So what is the third immeasurable? That's it. What's the third immeasurable? Sympathetic joy. I remember many, many years ago in this life, when I first began exploring Tantra Buddhism, I was very competitive. And I wanted to race everyone to nirvana, and whenever someone was practicing something that was more advanced than what I was practicing, I was jealous, or I felt insecure and inadequate. And one of my preceptors pulled me aside and they said, listen, The lazy man's path to enlightenment is rejoicing in the good fortune of others. Whenever someone does something good that you haven't done, if you rejoice in it, you'll share in their good fortune and create the causes to receive the same good fortune. So I thought that really spoke to my greed, and I embraced that practice. A former tantric partner of mine was an enthusiast for, who wrote Pride and Prejudice? Forgot. But anyway, she was a real enthusiast for Pride and Prejudice and all the other books written by that author. And so we collected every DVD version of, every movie version of Pride and Prejudice. And in one production, Elizabeth has spent a fortnight, if I remember correctly, with her cousin and her best friend who got married. And her mother's very distressed with this because, according to some eccentricity in their grandfather's will, their cousin stands to inherit the entire estate upon the death of Elizabeth's dad. So Elizabeth's mom is just terrified, and her fears turn to hate. So she just absolutely hates the cousin completely. But Elizabeth isn't. Elizabeth loves her cousin and loves her best friend who got married to her cousin. And so she spent a week or a fortnight with them. When she returned home, her mother was, so, how was it there? And Elizabeth said, oh, it was quite lovely. Are things going well for them? Yes, quite well. Well, I only hope it lasts. Well, anyone who's ever watched any production of Pride and Prejudice knows the mother might have said she hoped it lasts, but she was emoting the opposite. And that's very, very common. So sympathetic joy is actually saying, great, you have good fortune. May you continue to have good fortune and the causes of good fortune. And may you profit from your good fortune in the most wonderful way. And it's a question, once again, not of emotion, but of will, intention. Lastly, that brings us to the fourth immeasurable. And you could say, why are these things immeasurable? 4 sounds quite measurable to me, because the object of our compassion is immeasurable, the infinity of living beings, the object of our love. All living beings in all worlds of all universes. Immeasurable. The object of our sympathetic joy, the recipients of our sympathetic joy, immeasurable. So here's the thing. If you have compassion for a little bit of people, you earn a little bit of good karma. If you choose to have compassion for a lot of people, you earn a lot of good karma, and you guessed it. If you decide to have a great amount of compassion for an infinite number of people, you generate an infinite amount of good karma. So, what's the fourth immeasurable? Equanimity. Oh yes, the Mahayana Buddhists love their big words. Equanimity means balance. And in Buddhism, we often talk about the two truths, talk about the conventional and the ultimate. And this is no different. There is conventional and ultimate equanimity. Conventional equanimity says, hey, whether someone is your friend or your enemy or a stranger, treat them like a friend. So treat friends like friends, enemies like friends, and strangers like friends. And by the way, those 3 groups of people, they fit into the 2 extremes in the middle ground. People you love, people you hate, people you don't give a flying fuck about. And the idea of conventional equanimity is you love those you love those you hate, and you love the complete strangers. Just choose to love everyone. I'm not going to say I was an idiotic student, but I had to be taught, no, you can't walk down the street hugging strangers. They will arrest you for such things. So what is ultimate equanimity? Ultimate equanimity says whether you hate something, or whether you like something, or whether you're indifferent to something, they all are exactly the same nature. What's the same nature? Everything, whether you hate it, or love it, or indifferent to it, is subject to impermanence. Everything, whether you hate it, or love it, or indifferent from it, are interdependent. Consequently, everything, whether you hate it or love it or indifferent to it, is ultimately non-graspable. And of course, since you've already watched all the videos of Lesson 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, then what are you waiting for? Go back and watch those those videos on YouTube. It might take you a month, it might take you a week. No big deal. Okay, so we've learned that the 4 limbs of the drawing of the Buddha of compassion serve to remind us of the 4 immeasurables of what? Compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Now, different subsects of Buddhism enumerate the 4 immeasurables in different ways. I like this way of enumerating them because it's just easier to remember. Now, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. Thank you for watching all the videos of Lesson 2, all the videos of Lesson 1, for doing all the homework for Lesson 1. That's right, 9 whole minutes every morning and every evening. Thank you for doing your homework. I thank you for caring about your spiritual development and trying to make the world a better place. I thank you for using one of those links below to donate to me. That's how us monks eat. And, oh yeah, I told you there were 2 links. The first link takes you to the registration page so you can reserve your seat for the next series of weekly webinars. When does the Friday series of weekly webinars begin? November 2nd. I'll see you there. Now, before I let you go, I want to remind you to find the like button, this little thumbs up icon. Give that a click over here. And then click the 3 social network buttons, the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Google+. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Bye-bye.